back. The Cult of Cantona is back. Delighted to be back in the studio in Dublin today with our absolute depression starting to leave us now and to lift after what was, undoubtedly probably the worst season in my living memory as a United fan, being in my 40s. It was like a season that started so positively. It was just overwhelmingly kind of gut punching at the end, particularly because we did a Man United event and we brought over Paul Parker, and if you haven't seen it, it's on our YouTube channel, so give it a look. It was just, I've never seen so many people leave a space so quickly at the end of the night. But today we're joined by comedian, performance artiste, TikTok performance artiste, teacher as well, which is incredible to hear. Mr. Séamus Lehane. Am I saying that right? Lehane?
I go with Lehane. I've heard Lehane.
Lehane.
I've got cousins in America and they pronounce it Lehane.
Lehane.
Which I've never gone down that route, but
like the French movie, so listen, I'm sure a lot of our audience will know who you are because you're very obviously a public Man United fan, but very prominent and on TikTok. But tell us a little bit about, I suppose, your relationship to Man United, your journey in that regard.
Well, I had a rocky start with Man United. Maybe it's fitting given the season we just had. My favourite colour growing up was red.
Right.
And my brother supported Man United, but I was given the other red team. So as a 3-4-year-old, I apparently was a Liverpool fan. I have no recollection of being a Liverpool fan, but after a few years, maybe it didn't even last that long, I had switched over to Man United. And when I tell people this, I get in a lot of trouble. But I was 4, so I feel like that's a reasonable enough excuse. So my brother was a big Man United fan, and I suppose growing up I just wanted to be like him. Yeah. So I don't think there was ever a conscious decision to switch allegiance, but all of my childhood I just remember supporting Man United.
Let's just say that it was a graph of the colour red, and it wasn't a football related decision. But I can absolutely understand that. You were obviously a child of the 90s, noughties, right?
Yeah, child in the noughties, so that was peak Man United, wasn't it? So
yeah, a good time to, I suppose, to get those last 10 good years before the rot start to set in.
Well, yeah.
And you're from Limerick, right?
I'm from Limerick, yeah. So I suppose growing up, most people in my class supported Man United, but I'm probably of that generation where Man United was the team to follow. And we had the Irish connection as well, obviously with Roy Keane, Dennis Irwin, John O'Shea a little later on.
Yeah, there's a huge number of supporters clubs and stuff in Limerick. There's big, well, all over the country, but Limerick in particular as well. There's lots of Limerick United fans. So I suppose, what's your earliest memory of seeing or being aware of Man United, and how did it formulate itself when you started to like football, or what sticks out?
Yeah, I remember my brother used to get these these videos that were like a year reviews. I can't remember what the title of them was, but I remember we just used to watch them on repeat. It was like the mid-90s. I would just show kind of behind-the-scenes footage of them going on tour and stuff. I remember one Man United were playing in Ireland. I don't know which club they were playing against, but a fan ran on and kissed Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, 1996 in Talca Park. I was at that game.
You were the fan, were you?
Well, I was the girl. I was like, Ryan, spit on me. No, but I was at that game, yeah.
Oh, were you? Oh,
yeah, I was.
Right,
I'm old enough to be at that game. I was, I think, 13. Hang on, 96. I was born in 82. So, 13, 14.
Yeah.
And I'm a Shells fan as well, so.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was like the Beatles came to town. People would get like rows and rows of girls. I was actually talking to Lee Sharp about this a couple of weeks ago because I went to a United event.
Okay.
And I was like, I was at that game, and he was like, I don't remember that game. And I was like, okay. And he goes, no. He says, look, anytime we come to Ireland, there's it's Beatlemania. He says even now, he says that the social collateral of it is still so high.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they love coming here. Even now, like the legends when they come over, they're still mobbed. It's crazy.
Yeah,
like 30
absolutely.
Years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so DVDs, videos, that type of stuff, and then
that was the stuff. Yeah, like I just remember some random clips. Like I remember they would show like the European draw or something, who they were getting in the like a qualifier round for, must have been the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think they got some team from Luxembourg one year. It was like Izemir Began or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that was the name. It was just Alex Ferguson walking around asking people where they were from. that was
obviously.
Who are they from? Izemir Began. Who are they from? Luxembourg. No, yeah, that's another one. And I suppose the first game, like, it probably would have been the treble winning season that sticks out most in my memory. I've only ever got a nosebleed once in my life,
Right.
and that was when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer scored against Bayern.
Ran into the wall.
No, I don't know what happened to me. I like jumped up and I don't know that I hit my head. I actually can't remember the moment it happened. I remember the goal. Yeah. I don't remember the nosebleed. Until I was celebrating, I just had blood streaming from down my nose.
I had a similar thing. We had an issue with pillows. I was watching it at home with a mate of mine, I remember actually, and I just remember pillows being like bashed consistently for about 10 minutes, especially when Solskjaer's going, like feathers going everywhere.
Yeah,
those kind of slow mo, ridiculous kind of, in actuality, it's probably 2 feathers, but in your mind, in your rose-tinted kind of memory nostalgia thing, it's like, it seems as if it was like, super slow-mo.
It was a cinematic moment.
1960s glow.
Yeah.
But, how important is, and I know it's so up and down in terms of the last 20 years, but like how important a role has Man United played in your life in terms of, staying positive, or has it influenced you, or do they frustrate you, and is it a negative thing? Because I've mates and it's like they kill me.
Yeah,
or like I'm in bad form for the whole weekend if we lose. I can't do it.
I've probably in recent years I've grown a little bit more detached. I remember maybe like late noughties, 07, 08, 09. Like if they had lost, I would be in a bad mood. For a few days. But they had that expectation that they were going to win every game, and you kind of believed they were going to win every game. Mm-hmm. But I suppose over the last 10 years, that expectation level has probably lessened. So when they lose now, I'm not as surprised. I always go in with a bit of hope. Yeah. I can always see how they could win, but
they just never do.
They never do.
They never do.
Well, they had a good start to pre-season, so they might pick up. But yeah, it's when I was younger, I would take it to heart a lot more. I've probably come to terms with the position they're in. Yeah. Maybe recently.
I think it's flattering to call them a mid-table team, but that's where we're at.
Realistically,
unless,
yeah.
Just in terms of. I'll just very quickly just talk to you about TikTok and your success and on that platform. How did it come about? What's it like for you? Because it's quite arduous. We had an event with the film company that I run, Film Network Ireland, and we brought John McGuckin, who's a pal of ours as well.
Yeah.
Nasty and Owen Colgan from the Hardy Books.
Okay,
they do a lot of content, obviously on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
They said that the sheer workload in turning it over, it's like a small production company, it's just consistent.
Yeah.
Even if you're just shooting it off your phone, but the planning and the editing and trying to find sweet spots and moments, and then it's just like literally a lottery putting it out and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
But how did it begin for you? Was it a happy accident, or was it something you planned?
Well, I always wanted to get involved in comedy, so I had comedy in some capacity, yeah. And when I was growing up, I suppose I would have been influenced by a lot of different comedians and impressionists, like Mario Rosenstock. I would have loved Gift Grub, and I would have been very close to my brother. My brother was really funny as well, so I was like, I want to try to be funny. Yeah. But when I was in college, I started to make like little sketches, but they were probably too inflammatory to share with a broader audience because they were impressions of the lecturers and classmates and stuff. So it was like shown to a really limited audience of like 6 people who I knew wouldn't be offended.
Yeah, pretty much like everybody did in school, just taking the piss out of the teacher.
Yeah, no, but that's literally how I got started. So I had kind of built up through these kind of mini sketches I was doing. I had built up kind of editing skills and stuff, so I knew I could go down that line. But then I went teaching, so that was my kind of profession. And even though at the back of my mind I kind of knew I wanted to do comedy, but it's quite a hard thing to switch from teaching, where you have a public image and stuff, and there's certain expectations around behavior and.
Yeah, I mean, there's your public kind of image and how you're perceived is important, isn't it? I mean, but let me say, first of all, I mean, some of the most important people in my life are teachers, you know. And I think it's an incredible vocation, and a good teacher is, you know, an incredible mentor, is a friend, a pal, you know. And I used to go for pints with my teacher. I swear to God, my maths and my English teacher, because I was 19 doing my leaving.
Thank God you were secondary school. I was like, is this primary?
Yeah, my teacher used to bring me to the pub in primary school. No, but like literally, two of them. Shout out to them. I think one of them passed away. I won't mention names, but like like this is 6th year, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and towards the end of the year, but like it was like half day Wednesday, and I bumped into. Like, I always got on well.
The
majority of my teachers, because I was always a messer, but not the messer, not the malignant kind of messer.
Okay.
So like what happened to me in school was I was always moved up to the front of the class. It was like Paul up the front.
Right.
I'd just get everyone going.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But I remember bumping into in the corridor, and I was like joking, I'm going for a pint, and they were like, oh, well, so are we. And I was like, yeah, and we literally walked out the school gates and went down and had 2 or 3 pints together. It was amazing. And then we had a couple of pints afterwards as well. And I kept in contact with them for years, but you know, I went on to be an actor and director and so on, and they've always supported me over the years. So what the importance of you know, influencing and supporting young people in their lives is so incredibly valuable. You know, it is. So congratulations. If you're one of them, if you're one of the teachers that I had for different subjects, I take that back.
Yeah. I suppose that's the trouble. It's all relative to the person, isn't it? And it does depend on who you've had as your teacher.
What do you teach?
Well, it's primary school, so everything. The last class I would have been like the younger side. It would have been like juniors and seniors. So that was fun.
I had a brilliant 6th class teacher as well, who was like, again, just a lovely person who really cared about people. You know? So TikTok. How's TikTok for you? Do you enjoy it? Is it troublesome? Are you annoyed that you don't get the revenue that people do in the States? That type of thing. For me, it's just a great way it's just a great platform to push content out, or to, you know, it's a just a TV channel to you. Ostensibly.
Pretty much. But it can be very time consuming. I suppose that's the thing, and I suppose it's the same as all art forms. You just see the finished product, so people watching it just see the 30 seconds, or they see the minute. They don't see the scripting, they don't see the recording.
They're crying in the shower.
That happens too. They don't see the editing. They don't see all of those things. So it's one of those where I always feel like you're only as good as your last one, really. So I once I post a TikTok, like, I don't ever really watch it again. I just move on to the next one.
Well, it's distressing, and I wouldn't say narcissistic necessarily, but you know, it can be, particularly if you know you put out something that's quite good, or this came up in the conversation with the lads. They were like, sometimes it's disheartening because they put out something that they really like and think it's really funny, and then it blurts and gets like 500 hits. You know, or they get a bum note, and they're like, that was really good, that's gold. Why didn't they respond to that?
That is part of it as well. Like every video I put out, I think is amazing. And then I put it out and it's like, no, it didn't quite work out that way. But I suppose in a lot of ways you're trying to kind of read people's mind, like what is important to people, what matters, what can kickstart a conversation. And there's been lots of videos I've put out where I've kind of thought, I'm not really sure about this, but I'll put it out there anyway, and then it could be a huge success, and then that could open up a kind of a full genre of videos, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like a segue to a new kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's like, but you have to be creative with it, like as in, you know, there's so many different, for me, and at least I have so many different types of videos I've done, and sometimes they do well, and sometimes the audience gets sick of them. So you have to have kind of other options to go down, and it's it's very challenging because I think it's quite a cutthroat platform, and that literally people are on their phone.
They vote with their hands.
Yeah,
right?
they vote with their thumb. Like it's so hard, like to capture somebody's attention and hold it, and for people to want to engage with that content as well, because there's more and more stuff being put up online every single day. So
it's a really competitive marketplace, isn't it?
It's very competitive, but it's it's really challenging. Like, and it, like you said there, like you'll be humbled so quickly. It like like there's been lots of times where I've put in so much work into like a new project and thinking, oh, this is going to be great, and then it falls flat in its face. But
Joe mentioned to us, or mentioned to me, I don't know whether it was on stage or to me, but he was like, John McGuckin, he was like, it's a virtual kick in the bollocks. Because your ego can take such a hit sometimes, you know, because you're like, this is really good, but they're not latching onto it. But the same, I suppose, goes for broadcast media as well, you know, and comedy shows. Sometimes, or even when making a film or TV show, I'd imagine, that, you know, or from my own experiences doing that, sometimes it reads well and then it, you know, and it doesn't communicate as well as you thought it would have, or you know, there's a disconnect somewhere on some level somewhere.
Yeah.
But just about impressions and stuff as well. Obviously, you were the lad in class doing impressions and making everybody laugh, I'd imagine, particularly in secondary school. But how did you, like, I know a few mimics. We know Al Foran a bit from working with us. And a young lad called O'Shane that does some bits with us as well.
Okay, right, yeah.
They're really good, but it's different for everybody. I know that Irish people in particular, we have the luxury of being like raised by the television. And we see a lot of American content, UK content, and we seem to pick that up really easily. Do you have like a musical ear, or how does that work?
Yeah, I've been told I have a musical ear. So I suppose the first impressions I would have done probably of my dad. So
Is he still around?
My dad is still around. Yeah. So my dad is he's from Kinmare, and he has a really thick Kerry accent. Even though how get he on? That's the kind of way he would talk. Yeah. How get he on? Hello.
The Lord's above it all.
Yeah, he would have grown up like living beside the Healy Rays back in Kinmare, Kilgarvan country. So my brother would have probably done a lot of impressions of him, and I would have been copying him. And when I went to school, then just in secondary school, just doing impressions of teachers. And now I wouldn't have been the class clown. Like I would have been fairly quiet.
Quietly funny.
Well, I was quietly in the corner anyway, so I wouldn't have been front and centre. So yeah, I would have started doing impressions of teachers, and I would have loved gift grub. Like,
isn't that what they say? You know, performance or acting is the shy person's revenge. You know.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah. So yeah, that was probably how I got started with it, and obviously then like through gift grub and stuff, I would have been hearing Mary Rosenstock doing impressions of different famous people, particularly around Ireland, and then as well Après Match as well. So like that would have been my generation. And
we worked with Gary Cook as well at the last event he came along.
Okay.
So it's like my vintage anyway. It's like we were in love with Après Match, man.
Yeah.
My mates, we used to see we sit up and watch videos and record it and everything. Was that influential on us?
No, it was huge at the time. Like it was probably more exciting than some.
I remember
games.
like going out for some of the games, like Ireland matches in particular, because sometimes they wouldn't be great, you know.
Yeah.
But the Champions League even, and you'd I remember watching, like you'd watch the commentary maybe on UTV or ITV.
Yeah.
And then you turn back on for a match at half time. And I remember back then when I remember going out to watch matches and then going out for a cigarette, but running back in to try and catch Après Match, or it'd be on quickly, and then that kind of thing. That's how influential they were. So many, and some of the stage shows those guys did as well were amazing. Like brilliant people as well. Gary's really cool.
Yeah. So that was kind of how I would have probably started out with the impressions and stuff. And generally, I like I wouldn't really practice them. I just hear them and try and recreate the voice. But yeah, I'd sometimes have to like get reassurance, like, do I sound like this person? Or but it can be quite hard, especially when you post impressions on social media, because when it comes to comedy and people don't find something funny, they generally just scroll past it. Whereas if somebody doesn't like your impression, they will tell you.
Oh, they'll stop and
they're like, that sounds
take
nothing.
a shit on you and then move on.
Yeah, but some people don't have a musical ear. Some people, even though it might be quite a good impression, they might never actually get it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to take the people who say you're bad with a pinch of salt. But there's probably more to impressions than just the voices as well, you know. So
like you know, there can a parody impression as well can be very popular too. You know,
yeah,
it can be so bad, but a very not unfair in any of yours are.
Yeah.
Yours are great.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes like Spitting Image is a really good example of that. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be spot on in yeah, but you in another capacity it can have value, you know. So yeah, so I've probably, when I started doing the TikTok, I assumed that it would just be impressions I was doing, and that was my kind of main goal. But yeah, I kind of delved into other stuff as well.
You were like, hold on, I can create little narratives to fit into.
Perhaps, yeah. So yeah, I kind of went down a few different routes as well with it. But yeah, no, I do like a good impression now. But
who's your favorite United impressions or United connections? Or can you, like, obviously you've done a bit of Keane, obviously.
Keane, yeah, it's funny because like my Roy Keane, because I did Roy Keane a few times, and people just told me how bad I was at it. That was kind of the Mario Rosenstock one with the Johnson, baby, yeah. But so that was one that I wasn't even overly confident in. But I did one video. It was the time of the Marlon Harewood comment with Jill Scott on the podcast.
I don't know how we got away with that.
Yeah, but I made a kind of a video of me being Roy Keane, kind of making other kind of innuendo jokes, and that's what really
kickstarted it.
That's what kind of kickstarted it, and it kind of gave me an audience in the UK. So yeah, that's what kind of started it for me with the Roy Keane one. But I just love the way that when he's talking, it's like, yeah. So for me, like my impression of Roy Keane is very much, it's just a certain tone of voice he uses. Like when he's kind of, he doesn't want to talk somebody up too much. He's like, oh, he done okay. He was decent, but that's his job. And these lads, they're coming out here, they're thinking they're going to win the Champions League. I know, let's string a few passes together. That whole kind of the high pitched voice is where I kind of go to for Roy Keane.
It's kind of like Roy Keane on standby, isn't it? You know, like a video player just before he's trying to keep it together.
Yeah. But sometimes the voice pitch increases, and I actually remember hearing some. And actually, I don't want to keep bringing up Mario Rosenstock, but he said there was kind of one quote he had about impressions. It was that, like, if you can kind of get one part of their voice. Yeah. When they're talking in a certain way, like that can be your go-to for that person. Yeah. Even though, like, Roy Keane doesn't always sound like that. No, he's not always sounded. He doesn't always have a high-pitched voice. But when he wants to make his point, you know, that's how he done it. Or that's how he done. You know, he kind of, when he's kind of passionate, he goes into that mode. And
that creates its own persona within a persona thing.
Yeah,
isn't it? Where it's him in that mode all the time, and that's kind of brilliant, for want of a better term, kind of clickbait, isn't it? People love that.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's what he's most known for, is when he speaks with that intensity, and you can tell how passionate he is, and you can kind of see that rage behind the eyes, and I think that's why people are so fascinated by him.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's a much nicer bloke than people give him credit for. Like, he does so much for people. Yeah. And he goes out of his way, and, you know, particularly in recent times, he's gone to a lot of kind of GAA matches, Cork City games. He's doing a lot behind the scenes that I'm hearing he's doing that he's not getting a lot of public credit for. I think he's a great bloke. He's flawed like the rest of us, you know. And I think he's bordered on bullying a couple of times. That's why they won't hire him, because he can cause problems, you know. There's a lot of young lads that just won't take that, and they'll play all sorts of cards, and then he's out the door. So you can understand why he doesn't work. But I think he's look, clearly a brilliant motivator. I don't know why he's like somewhere in Spain or Italy don't give him a job, to get started again.
Yeah, well, he has always publicly said he wants to manage again.
Yeah.
I just remember reading his second autobiography, the second half. He emphatically states he'll never get involved in punditry.
Right.
But look, I suppose changing your mind is a sign of growth.
Listen,
they're offering me $500,000 for the year on Sky Sports. I said, no, it's okay. We'll do it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, he might be getting a bit more than that. Who knows? We won't speculate too much about how much he's getting paid. But I'd say
he's been looked after.
He's been looked after sufficiently. Yeah.
So let's look. We'll jump into, I suppose, Man United directly related issues. We're into a couple of things I want to talk to you about, and I always ask, a guest that come in how they feel about the kits in particular. This season's kits, are they doing anything for you, or are they just, absolutely trading on nostalgia again to just get us to spend huge amounts of money? And they're incrementally getting higher and higher every year.
Yeah, I suppose with the thing with the kit, obviously they've get a new one every year now. So I think, when I was growing up, they only got one every 2 years.
Yeah.
So you kind of had a deeper connection with the kit, and I suppose with that period in their history.
Yeah.
Whereas now they're getting new jerseys every year. I find that this one is quite similar to the one 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love football kits. Like, I've got an addiction.
I noticed on your TikTok, like in every second video, you're wearing like Roma.
I've got no loyalty when it comes to different kits. But I'm a big fan of football kits. But the current one, it might grow on me. Sometimes when you see it for the first time, it might not be an immediate hit.
For me, it's like I feel a bit cheated when they exactly. I agree with you there. Like this season's home kit is very like the Team Viewer one from 2 years ago. The material
with the black,
and the black and all that trim, and I feel a bit cheated because what happens is, I'm a sucker. Every year I'll get the home and away, or home or one or two of the away or towards, depending on just to have them because I love them because I collect kits. And I've like about 70 Man United kits. But again, I like what happens is when the new jersey comes out the season before, you look at it and it falls out of favour and you get a bit annoyed with it and you go, I don't like that and it didn't look good on me and all of that type of thing. I don't wear football jerseys every day, but and then you see, for me, I feel a little bit cheated that they've manipulated me again to do it again. Like, because you're only starting to like the season's home kit, from the season before.
I know.
And then this year they bring out one that's very, very similar to the season before that. And I don't know, it's a colour aesthetic thing. I don't know. It annoys me. I do like the black third kit. That's not officially launched, but we all know that's the one.
Yeah, I saw the white one recently, and it does look nice, but it can be hard to justify keeping up with it every year because, like, you do know what the motivating factor is behind it. You do know that they're trying to get a bit of turnover with it, which is all part of it. Like, but I suppose now is probably the best time to get the new kit because you'll get the full year out of it. Sometimes you're tempted, like in they have a sale maybe in January, and you're like, oh, you know what, the new kit actually looks alright. I might get it now, but you only get a few months out of it when it's current.
It can be, you buy it because it does fall out of favour and it ends up in the wardrobe or whatever.
Yeah.
I do like some of the vintage Adidas original stuff that they're releasing.
That's really cool. Yeah. I saw they have a Tigres one that just released at the moment. Right. The Mexican club.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it does look cool. Yeah, I'm a sucker for it. I got a Boca Juniors jacket there.
Oh, nice.
Which, I didn't realise I was wearing the day Limerick were playing Tip.
Right.
In some hurling match. I was like, wait, I'm officially sporting Tipperary now. But
okay, yeah, it's the same colour there.
Same colours.
Yellow and blue. Yeah. I'll just jump into kind of some of the more prominent issues. I don't want to keep you as well because he's a gig tonight.
There you go.
Where are you with the way things are going with Ruben Amorim? Do you like him? Have you lost your patience with him last season? Where are you with him right now? Transfers as well. How do you feel about Cunha and Mbueno? Or our Brian, as they say.
Our Brian, yeah. Well, look, I suppose with Amorim last year when he came in, it was a bit of a mess. obviously my lookalike Eric Ten Hag didn't last too long in season. Yeah, she's part of the game, huh? But I probably should do more Eric Ten Hag impressions because everybody says it to me. They're like, Eric Ten Hag, you're Eric Ten Hag. Like, I'm not Eric. Yes, of course. The players with the club. The club. I think that was how he said the club. Yeah, so I suppose last year he had a bit of a free hit in that there was very little expectations, but obviously the way it went on, it just, I suppose I didn't quite lose all faith in him, but it was, it just seemed to get worse and worse. And obviously you're thinking that Europa League was his kind of ticket out, but and when they lost that as well, it was a massive blow. I don't want to bring that up too much, but like this is his year to make it work or not. But I play a lot of Football Manager. And I could definitely help if he needs a hand. No, but like
he's not getting. Yeah, he wasn't.
But it's the perfect job for somebody who wants to come in and make a change because you're already at your lowest point, or that we hope is the lowest point at least. So like you can't do much worse than what has already happened. You know what's gone on before. Like I don't think there's going to be a repeat of it this year, and I suppose. Usually managers go in and they look at the players that they have and they try and find a system that suits the players. He's come in with his system and obviously it had limited success last year. He had a few games where it looked good, but in general it didn't really work out. But you could argue he didn't have the transfer window to try and get the players out and get the players in that he wanted. So this year and this transfer window is going to be huge for him. Yeah. Like if they continue to play like they did last year, he won't probably last.
My concern is that when you're building, when you buy all these building materials for this particular type of eco home that he's trying to build, and then the build is abandoned halfway through the construction. What you're left with is all these eco bricks and a bunch of, old builders that won't use the tools.
Yeah.
And then everything gets thrown away, and then we have to start again. That's my major concern. I do like Cunha. I think he's a proper footballer, and he cares. I think United are being clever because they're buying players who want to play for the club.
Yeah,
club,
the club.
He's I think he's boxing clever. I do think, from my perspective, and I've said this before in other episodes, I think he should have stayed at Sporting until the end of the season and come in afresh and had a full transfer window and avoided all that negative press. But having said that, I do think he's given some of the games in the Europa League in the knockout stages last season were some of the best football I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. So
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, and look, he has an opportunity here now. I know he's obviously. Probably maybe United haven't been as active as we all hoped they would be in the transfer market, especially when you compare them to the other teams.
Yeah. Sunderland bought 9 players.
Oh yeah, I saw they got Xhaka, right? Yeah.
And they Sunderland. This was gas. I've seen this on social media today. They posted, and they used this as some sort of they got some sort of coup. Lest we forget that Xhaka threw Arsenal completely under the bus before he left a few years ago. I have a couple of mates who are Arsenal fans who haven't forgotten that. But they posted a picture 14th in the Ballon d'Or in 2018, and it's like, I came 14th in the egg and spoon race. In primary school,
14th
in the Ballon d'Or. But it's just kind of like, yeah.
He got that because he looks like Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's a good. He's a good player, but he's not. He's a good player. He's not a great player, though. That kind of stupidity.
Yeah.
What's your position on O'Brien? And have you seen much of? Obviously, you were aware of him last season.
Yeah.
How do you feel about him? And have you seen much rather of Diego Leon? He looks like he's a little terrier.
He looks, yeah. Mbuemo. I'm not sure. Is it Mbumo or Mbuemo?
He said it in an Instagram video. He's Mbumo.
Mbumo, yeah.
But I'm so used to saying Mbuemo because it makes me feel like I'm more intelligent and
Kinder Mbuemo. Mbumo, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, he's a player who's proven in the Premier League, and he's at that age where he probably wants to make his big mark with a big club.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they went for him, in that I kind of always thought that they were going to use maybe Amad Diallo in that kind of right number 10 role. Obviously, he's left-footed as well.
I think they're earmarking him for that kind of wing-back thing again.
Yeah, you'd wonder, because he doesn't appear like he seems to lack a bit of physicality to be a wing-back, and obviously he doesn't have the defensive instincts. Yeah, so that part didn't really make that much sense to me. Yeah, and obviously with the deal for R. Brian, I'll call him R. Brian so we won't offend him too much if we get the pronunciation wrong. If he's
I'm sure he's watching.
Us Baldies have to stay together. So I was a little bit surprised that they went for him in the first place, just because of the Diallo situation, and then it took so long to get the deal over the line. But I mean, what did he score? Was he 20 league goals last year? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so. And Cunha was 17. Or there or thereabouts, but still, that's really good.
So, I mean, like, that was Man United's biggest issue last year, was goals. So, hopefully, that kind of number 10 role to the right will suit him. And obviously, Cunha on the other side. It obviously remains to be seen then about who will be up top. Those rumours today that Sesko could be on the way.
Oh, yeah. They've had talks with him, apparently. Again, this comes out. Who knows what might have happened? He might have signed or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's. Now, I'm aware that, Highland has scored and he seems to be up for it again. At this point. But even if watching some of his Bundesliga highlights from last season, Sesko is a really big guy and he bullies defenders. He's all elbows and he's running through and he's going through there whether you want him to or not. And I think that's what was lacking in Rasmus's game last season. Now look, even Rasmus said after the match yesterday against Bournemouth in the Premier League series, Chicago. That's the one, yeah. He was like, I didn't get the support last season.
Yeah.
Now the problem is this a blessing or a curse? I mean, you look back at the 99 season in 2008. If someone wasn't playing well, someone would come in and cover them, and they were just as good, and with quality in every position. We can't complain about that being a thing if you have theoretically a really excellent footballer in every position, because that's the way it's supposed to be. And don't forget, there was Deadwood in both of those squads in 08, and without getting carried away about talking about winning leagues again. But when you look at my big issue for the next season is, tampering with the potential and the progress of one or two players who did well during that bad season. I mean, not letting Amad play creatively. Moving Bruno back to that number 8 instead of that number 10 thing.
Yeah.
Like, Bruno saved our bacon for the second half of the season, nearly every game in some capacity.
Yeah.
Like, if you temper that and bring him back and keep him in the middle a bit more, a bit in front of the defenders, I'm a bit concerned about that, because him going forward, I'd rather he was scoring than nobody scoring,
Yeah.
So there's that. That's my big concern about, particularly, and Amad as well, pushing Amad out unnecessarily, or playing him as that wing back. Like, Dorgu and Lehane are supposed to be the solutions.
Yeah,
these are the players that were bought specifically to suit that system.
Yeah,
that'd be my worry. What's your worries? Tell me about your worries. Pop yourself up there now, okay? And
talk to Joe.
Talk to Joe. Oh, what did he do to you? Poor old Joe.
Yeah. I suppose that's the big one. Like, Bruno Fernandes is still obviously our best player, but is he going to be forced back a bit deeper? Like, does he really suit Amarim's system? I suppose that's the big question, because if you were to have him pushed up further, he'd be kind of occupying the same space as Cunha. So I suppose there's a lot of question marks about where each player will play, some key players, and I suppose, like, the big issue last year was goals, and I do think Highland has a point in that there was very few chances even created for him. Like, I mean, if you were playing a football game and if you're up top, like when I was playing soccer years ago,
back in my day,
same level as Highland, but no, but like, if you're playing for a team and they're creating nothing, there isn't a whole lot you can do if you're that number 9. And he's not the type of player who drops back and gets involved. It's a bit like Haaland at City. Some games he just doesn't touch the ball.
Yeah, I'd wonder how Haaland, and Haaland didn't exactly set the world on fire last year either. He scored a lot, but I wonder how Haaland would have coped in that United team last year. I don't think he would have done a lot better, really. Maybe a few more goals.
Like obviously City would have with Pep Guardiola's style, they're creating so many chances, but there was lots of games there where Haaland was he just wasn't getting involved, and he couldn't really get involved. So, and I do think Højlund plays similar to Haaland.
Yeah.
Obviously Xerxes is a bit different, that he kind of drops deep and stuff, so he gives you a different option. But Sesko does look like a very good player if he does come. He's still quite young though. He would still be a project.
He's 22, so you're looking at but he does look like a fully developed centre forward.
Yeah.
More so than Højlund. But then again, Højlund did before he came, and it is that the big lottery or the big issue I think overall is that Russian roulette. Will the club be too big for them?
Yeah, and I suppose with Højlund, I know he was at Atalanta, but he really only played for the last 6 months of that season when they signed him, and they signed him for a huge fee. Was it like £72 million plus add-on? So I mean, it was a huge risk, but he was kind of thrust into the first team slots straight away. You kind of thought that if he went to another, I think that's one of the problems with United as well at the moment, is that all of these big signings are expected to be the solution. If you look at some of the other teams, like the players can have 6 months to kind of bed in. Look at City, look at Liverpool, Arsenal. They're not expected straight away to make the difference.
So that's the problem, because their teams are playing better, so they get away with it.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, and also with Rashford as well, when he was in favour towards the end. And I have to say, seeing Rashford over there, in fairness, it's not fair. It was his first 30 minutes playing for Barcelona, but he looked so slow and heavy, and his touches were so heavy, and everything else. And I try to be a football fan first when talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at the weight of the club and what it does to players. I mean, it chews you up and spits you out. I've had some really interesting off-the-record conversations about the club and what it does to players as well.
I would say so. Yeah,
and it's ridiculously hard. It's like the biggest. The reality is that it's the biggest club in the world, and it's like getting your dream gig, and have to do it over and over and over again. It's not going to go right every time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose there's so much media attention. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter how United are playing. There's going to be column inches. There's going to be people writing about it either way.
Every day is United news day, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Like even on Sky Sports News, it's just United every 10 minutes.
I often think that even with the transfers, people say how inept United have been in the transfers, but I think there's so much more attention on their transfers that for other clubs you just hear when the deal is completed, but for United you seem to get these updates.
Oh, they follow people around it.
Yeah, so and it kind of makes them sound less efficient than maybe they are. I don't know, but
what about quickly about Gaeilge?
Is it Gyökeres?
We had this thing with Marazwai. I can't even say it now. Mazraoui last season.
Oh yeah.
I'm not in any way xenophobic or racist, but I just sometimes their names totally escape me. Do you think that's a coup for Arsenal, or will he, some accounts are like when he did play just at championship level.
Yeah.
He was good, but he didn't set the league on fire.
Yeah.
Will he be a busted flush? Do you think he'll do a job for Arsenal, and did we miss out on him?
Yeah. Well, it's really hard to tell, isn't it? I think Darwin Núñez has ruined this for Portuguese for strikers playing in the Primeira Liga. I think he's kind of ruined the reputation of a lot of the strikers, because he was obviously banging in the goals, and then he came to England and he didn't really do it. Gyökeres does look very good in that he looks powerful and he looks like a natural finisher.
Yeah.
Whether he actually suits Arsenal's style, I don't know. I could still see him playing behind Havertz. I still think probably Havertz will be their go-to at the start.
Yeah.
But he does look like a really good finisher, and obviously he would have been used to Amorim's style, so I could have seen him maybe suit United style a bit more so than
I was surprised more than anything else. It seemed like the most obvious thing in the whole world, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe he had a chat with Ruben very early on and said, "Look,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to play in the Champions League," and that was enough for him.
Yeah, it seemed like he always wanted to join Arsenal rather than United. If United had won that game against Spurs for the Europa League, it could be a different story. Like Gyökeres could have been signed, maybe plus Cunha and Mbeumo. You'd wonder, but yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to predict how he'll actually do. Obviously, I think it will count in his favour that he has experience in the Championship, and like he scored a crazy amount
Champions League, but he does have experience.
No, but but he's he's familiar with England. Like he knows what to expect.
You would imagine that he'll bed in very quickly. He knows the culture; it won't throw him.
Yeah, and
could just be a lifestyle thing as well. Knows England, wants to live in London.
Exactly, and he scored a crazy amount of goals. I think it was 58 goals or something. I know a lot of them are penalties, but you still have to score penalties. Like I mean,
but I was practicing that that Bain thing, that Bain celebration thing that he does.
Oh yeah, see, Kai Rooney pulled it out.
Yeah, I know. Right. And telling all the kids in my life as well that there's never been a surer thing in the world, that he's coming to us. But anyway,
yeah. Well, look,
but we've had some surprise transfers that worked out incredibly well, and it's the first time we didn't get the obvious striker. I mean, look at the Alan Shearer thing in '96 when he was front page of the News of the World in the kit, ready to go, and then he feared left, and then we got Solskjaer. And I remember being so incredibly annoyed about that and going, "Who the fuck is this guy?" As a kid, teen or whatever. And then look where that went, and ask any United fan, would you rather Alan Shearer or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's with the benefit of hindsight, but yeah.
Back in my day, we signed not the obvious choice.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Like they might back Højlund again. Obviously, Xerxes looked good towards the end of last year. He's not a stereotypical number 9. He'll obviously try and drop in. And you've got two players who should bring you a lot of goals in Cunha and Mbeumo, however you want to say it, or Brian. So, they might solve that goal scoring issue, and there may not be as much pressure on the striker to score goals. Like, I don't think Xerxes is a prolific goal scorer. I don't think that's part of his game. But
I'd be really interested to see how he uses, and hopefully they might. We don't have to register anyone for the Europa League because we're not in.
Yeah.
Which is still shocking to me that we're not. Anyway, Obi, I think.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see what they do with him and how they develop him, because he is a clearly a goal scorer.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know kind of what master plan Ruben has to really maximise especially the starlets from the 18s that did so well over the last couple of years, how to maximise them into a class of 26 or whatever, or 27,
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm really curious about that. But I agree, it is make or fucking break. I can see him getting sacked as soon as Christmas if it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble. Just because last year was so poor, that he's going to be under intense pressure. But like I said, the best time to come in to a club is probably when they're at a low point, because then you can kind of I still think that if you can see the performances are improving, I think people will be happy with that at the start. And obviously, he'll need to win games as well. But last year the performances looked so disjointed, and there was no clear chances.
No.
We were going full games with very little chances. So I think everybody just wants to see progress, but he will be under intense pressure. But I do think I'm optimistic. I think they'll have to improve upon last year. Obviously their target will be Champions League.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard because the other teams are looking very strong at the moment.
I'm surprised as well, Luke Shaw the other day coming out and talking about.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
It's like, can you keep your trap shut? Do you not remember the Europa League final and how badly heavy you were around the pitch? And the goal as well, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, lads, just fucking, day by day, do your job. Do your job.
You need to do your job. Get Keno back in there, yeah.
But just play. Just literally do your job, and just go about week to week, day to day, and just start racking up the points. And then, You know, I know Luke Shaw's been there 10, 11 years or whatever, but it's just like, stop with that stuff. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with we'll see and let's go and we've a good squad now and we go again. And you know, I understand that some people want to hear that shit, but like, you know, people that have been battered around the head and face of Man United, Man United stick over the last fucking 30 years, it's like, no, please stop doing that. You know? Especially when you're not playing well yourself, you know, or you were rushed back and not played well. In fairness to him.
Yeah, no, I know. I suppose any professional footballer is probably incredibly competitive, so I'm sure he probably does believe that they're going to win the league. But I think if you look at the facts, that's very unrealistic at this point. I don't think anybody is really expecting Man United to be competitive for the league next year. I think people just want to see progress. They want to see that the system and style is actually working. Yeah. And we want to see I suppose, maximising the abilities of the squad, because last year, I mean, what position was it? 15th they finished in the end.
16th.
Was it 16th? They were, I think, they won in the last. I
think it was
game.
16th, and
I think
Spurs just pipped us.
Was it Spurs? And I think that they overtake somebody in the end. But like, their squad was clearly not at that level. They weren't 15, 16. They clearly had a squad that could compete for Champions League football, but it just didn't happen for whatever reason. But next year he's going to run out of those types of excuses where the team don't get the style of play or whatever. So yeah, he will be under pressure. But look, that's why I suppose the preseason is so important now to make sure that the team are ready to go in August when the Premier League starts. But you know, you've got to probably look at things from a positive perspective as well, in that they don't have any European football, so they will probably get.
They'll be rested properly.
They'll be rested properly.
Maybe less injuries, because we were kind of cut to bits at times.
Yeah.
Injuries last season.
I suppose for minutes as well, though, players won't get as many minutes now as well. You know, like even like the Mason Mount or whoever. Yeah. No, players who've kind of been on the fringe, they might lose out now as well a little bit.
Yeah, like the jury's still out on Mount. He's clearly injury prone, and you know there was a red sign on United's head that we take players and who are injured.
Yeah,
it's happened loads over the last 10 years. You know, they're offloading their, Varane, as good as he was, Madrid knew.
He was coming towards the end. Yeah,
they knew he was injury prone. They knew it was always something. You know, same thing with Mason Mount. I like him when he's fit. He's creative on the ball. He scored a couple of crackers last season. I just, for the life of me, I don't know why they get him number 7. You know.
Yeah, that's a further weight in his shoulders. Yeah,
like that number 7 needs to be on the pitch every game. You know, and someone needs to.
Yeah.
Where are you with the Garnacho thing?
Well, it looks like he's going. I know they said that they're going to try and reintegrate him as part into the squad if nobody comes in for him, but he obviously his values obviously don't align with Ruben Amorim. Yeah. He is I mean, when he burst onto the scene, I suppose 2 years ago, he did look like the stereotypical Man United player. So I think the fans obviously took to him immediately, because you're so used to seeing wingers now like Jack Grealish or whatever, who's expected to just retain the possession, whereas Garnacho always took a risk. He always kind of attacked the full back.
He was like, give it to me, I'll do something with it.
Yeah. And there is something a bit special about him. Like, you can tell he has a high opinion of himself, and that's fine as long as he's able to back it up. But obviously, he fell out of favour with the manager, and I suppose the way he behaved then over the summer, wearing Rashford's Aston Villa jersey, all that kind of stuff, it didn't really paint him in a good light. I know he's very immature. Like, what age is he? He's probably 20, is he?
I think he's just 20.
Yeah, so he's very immature, but it's clear that he is angling.
I'm surprised by what he's doing. I wouldn't be surprised had we have signed him 2 or 3 years ago at like 18 or 19. But this lad has come through the youth ranks. He's won the Youth Cup. He understands the kind of black boot situation, trainees are only allowed to wear black boots.
Yeah.
Or they were up until recently. So he gets it. He should get it.
Yeah.
And why he, this is the thing as well. And sticking his finger, he likes giving the middle finger and flipping the board at fans, pre-season, or post-season.
That's right, yeah.
Pre-post-season tour, whatever the fuck it is now to make money. But, it's kind of like, you should know better. You should get it by now.
Yeah, I suppose when he wasn't getting game time, that's probably when maybe he turned it. Because up until that point, he was being used fairly regularly, but then he clearly wasn't a mainstay in the team. He wasn't starting probably as much as he would have wanted to.
Yeah.
And look, that's the route he went down. So it doesn't look like he has much of a future. I think, I don't know, I heard a valuation on him, but it sounds like, I don't know what's on his contract, but they were looking for like, was it 70 million? That seems like I don't think they're going to get that realistically, especially I suppose the longer the transfer window goes on. And he wasn't in great form either. Like, you kind of want to be selling a player at their peak, or when their peak form. You look at Newcastle now with Isak.
Yeah, he's 25, so yeah.
Yeah, as in, like, if they do sell, I'm not sure if they will, but they're obviously going to maximise his value because he's in great form, he's got a long contract, whereas...
And he's a loss to the club.
Yeah, at the moment, Garnacho probably isn't a loss to the club, so I'm not sure. It could be a loan deal or something, you wouldn't know.
I just know that if you idolise and you categorise yourself in the same bracket as a Ronaldo or a Messi, and these are your heroes, and he has a very high opinion of himself.
Yeah.
Then he should know that if you want to be even considered. No, I get it. Ronaldo wasn't what he was at 22, at 27, 28. I get that, and we have to be fair about that.
Yeah.
But equally, it's like, if you want to be considered in that category, you have to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And if he and his poxy brother, who's fucking tweeting left, right, and centre on Instagram, if he can't see that, and if he's not aware of the fact that Ronaldo and Messi at least were quieter when they were disenfranchised or annoyed about something,
Yeah.
Use your head, keep your fucking head down, and get on with it.
Yeah.
Like, going to Napoli is not a step up. Going to Chelsea, perhaps, they won that Mickey Mouse Cup.
Yeah, would he even start for Chelsea?
No, but he'd work his way in, and that's this is the thing. I've seen it over the years with different players. Januzaj, same type of thing. Sparked early, see ya. Where is he now? Sociedad, on the bench. So, it's like, do it every week. And this is, I suppose, this is the message, for all United players. Do it every week or fuck off.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah, well, that's what they need. They need that consistency because it just hasn't been there.
And we always do this for the first episode of the new season, as it were.
Okay.
Where do you think United, Mystic Meg-esque,
okay,
where do you think United are going to finish? What do you think they're going to win or not win? Where do you think they're going to be in the league, and where do you think they'll be in the cup and the League Cup?
Yeah, well, I think this year they obviously have to prioritise the league given what happened last year. So it is a hard one to predict, but fifth. I'm being optimistic here. You have to be optimistic.
I always am. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be optimistic. I'm going fifth. I think that's probably what they would be. They would be very happy with fifth, I think. And just because there's probably a good chance that will be a Champions League spot as well. You look at the moment, like, who are the teams that are definitely better than them? You probably Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea are. Oh yeah,
Newcastle.
But all it takes is for, like, you never know. One of them could have a bad year. All it takes is for one team to have a bad year, and you could leapfrog them. But, like, they're going to have to. They're going to have to prioritize the league, like I said. So, fifth, maybe sixth. I'm dropping places, but I
don't know.
Yeah.
Any cup success, do you reckon? Would you be happy with a cup? Does it matter? We know we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose United have been a cup team over the last few years, so they have been performing well. But the cup, it's very, very hard to predict how any team will perform in a cup. United have, in fairness, have been consistently quite good in cups. They obviously have got to a lot of finals, haven't won them all, but look, I think
things might have been very drastically different. I mean, you look at those two Europa League finals in particular.
Yeah, I mean, like the obviously, like the last one, it wasn't like Spurs were clearly the better team. No. Like
Spurs were Spursy. We just couldn't put them all in the net in the first, and they completely sat back on us.
Yeah, like that could have easily gone the other way, and then the other one, Villarreal or whatever, like that was a penalty shootout. So I mean, they could have won both of those. But then you got to look at the cups that they won, and you could also probably argue that maybe they could have lost those. Yeah. So I mean, you're never gonna get it 100% right. I'm not sure how they'll do in the cups. Obviously, they'd like to have a good run, considering they're not in Europe.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I always say that if they give me a day out or a night out, like an FA Cup final or like an interesting last game of the season, where you get to go out and properly do a thing. United related, I'm usually quite happy.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be in contention come the last day of the season. They'll be in contention for a Champions League spot.
I'm gonna make my own prediction now, and I'm going to say that United will finish second. I think they're going to surprise everybody, and we'll come back in 12 months, like we are, or 9 months or whatever, when the ugly baby is birthed at the end of the season. I'm going to say they're going to challenge for the league, but not win the league, because I think that it's now or never, and nothing motivates like a deadline, and all these players know, and the new players I think are that little bit more hungry than previous signings that we've had over the years, apart from Edison Cavani, who's just beast. So I'm going to say second, and we might win a cup. So I'm going to
and there's you slagging off Luke Shaw.
Well, no, he's always hungry, but for a different reason. Thanks so much for coming in, Séamus. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for supporting, watching the show, coming to the live event, subscribing, all of that type of jazz. You can follow us on @the Cult of Cantona on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of those things. Join our group. We also have a WhatsApp group as well, where you can join in on the banter for that. And you can hear voice notes from all your favourite hosts over the last couple of years. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Cult of Cantona. No, THE. Buymeacoffee.com/Cult of Cantona. Become a member. We've loads of different giveaways and bits and pieces that we'll be working on over the next year, and hopefully another event in the new year. But for the time being, glory, glory, Man United. Séamus, thanks a million.
You have to trust your teammates, always. If not, we are lost.